Well, good afternoon from the beautiful grounds of All Souls. I greet you on a day in which I'm sure that we all know already that South Africa is preparing itself for a mandatory period of quarantine beginning this Thursday at midnight and continuing for 21 days. I just wanted to say one or two things as we consider this time of isolation, of forced isolation, coming as it does already on the heels of our announcement of a time of suspension of our church services. And I'm sure that many of you are feeling perhaps somewhat anxious or concerned as to how you are going to experience these days of isolation, of quarantine. As Paula and I were sort of pondering upon events in our country just recently, there was a sense that we were at the foot of a breaking wave. That sense of powerlessness, that forces greater than we can control are at work, and that really we stand without very much power or control. But this morning some of us are subscribed to Nicky Gumbel's Bible in a Year, and there was that beautiful passage, that such well-known passage, which tells the story of Jesus calming the waters, calming the winds in the midst of a storm. I think that was a really helpful thing for us to read this day. And so I wanted to just say, building on that well-known story, just one or two things that I hope I can offer to you on this day as we consider this time of quarantine lying ahead. The first thing is that we know that in Jesus we have someone who is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. We know that he is in our boat, that he promises to be there in the midst of our storms. Interesting thing that maybe some of you hadn't realized or put two and two together, but coronavirus, corona means crown. And so I wanted to say two things as we prepare to launch ourselves perhaps in our boats into the midst of a growing storm. And the first is that we have a choice. We have a choice as to which crown we bow down to, if you like, as we prepare. Corona, the crown, the one that would seek to have power over us through the power of fear. Or do we choose Jesus, the King of Kings, the Lord of Love, the one who we know has the power over winds and waves and storms? And so we have a choice as we prepare this day and in the days ahead, and even in the midst of the impending breaking wave, perhaps that storm that is going to come. We have a choice. Do we fear, or do we seek the confidence that we have in Jesus in our boat? The other thing that I wanted to just say to us, in case we forget, is that there's a kind of a throwaway line in Mark's version of that story, and he says there are other boats too. There were other boats there. We sometimes forget, maybe as we climb into our boats, as we journey into the storm, that in fact there are other people around us in other boats, and maybe they feel slightly isolated too in their boats. They too will feel the effects of the storm, and maybe in some of those boats folk don't know Jesus the way perhaps we do. And so as we prepare for quarantine, let's not forget about those around us. We are part now of a church community that is dispersed, but we also live amongst neighbors who are worried and anxious. And in these moments as we prepare, let's not forget those around us. Let's be concerned about them. Let's think of their circumstances and their needs. And maybe this is the moment where we prepare by offering them the hand of friendship, arranging and making sure that we have channels of communication that will be open through these days of isolation and quarantine. And so we have the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the one who has the power over the storms in our boat. And we have the most wonderful responsibility to share that good news with those around us. I'm going to say a few more things in the days to come, give you a few more other ways in which you can maintain your contact, not just with each other, but also with All Souls. So please, in the newsletters and on Facebook and so on, please have a look at the other links that you can click on that will help you to connect and to remain connected with us. Amen.